In the morgue, a body lies on the table. The stench is so overpowering that most surgeons refuse to go near it, except one, Chief Surgeon Tessier. As he examines the corpse, he notices the esophagus is unusually wide, and the ulcer-scarred stomach fills almost the entire abdominal cavity. This was no ordinary man. This was Tarrare. Welcome to the Edible Files, where we ruin all the nice things you like to eat. In 1787, at 17 years old, Tarrare could eat his own body weight in a single day, but he weighed barely 100 pounds. His family literally kicked him out because they couldn't afford to keep him alive. Once he hit the streets of rural France, his hunger evolved from a problem into a weapon. He fell in with a band of thieves and con artists who realized he was the ultimate distraction tool. The gang would set up a stage in town squares. His job was to be so revolting that the crowd forgot to check their pockets. Therefore, his stomach was literally the engine for a criminal enterprise. To keep the crowds growing, the acts got darker. He would even grab a live stray cat and eat them whole. Like an owl, he would later regurgitate the fur and skin. The medical records described when he hadn't eaten, his skin was so loose and flaccid that he could take the hanging folds of his own belly and wrap them around his waist like a belt. His cheeks were so elastic that he could hold 12 eggs or apples inside his mouth at once. Later that year, a solo act in Paris went wrong. He swallowed a wooden box as a stunt and suffered a massive intestinal blockage. He was rushed to the hospital. After being cleared with laxatives, starving, he joined the Revolutionary Army, not for France, but because they promised him 4 rations a day. Little did he know, the army was about to use him in a way he would never have suspected. But even quadruple rations couldn't stop him from collapsing from exhaustion and was moved to a military hospital for experimentation. Surgeons watched in horror as he ate a meal meant for 15 people in one sitting. But the military didn't see a patient. They saw a weapon. A general decided to use Tarrare as a biological courier. They forced him to swallow a wooden box containing secret documents. But the plan failed. He was captured, beaten, and returned to the hospital, where his hunger finally mutated into something darker. They wanted a spy, but they got a man who would trade a state secret for a raw steak. The hospital staff began to notice supplies disappearing. First, the pharmacy went empty, but then the morgue was breached. Bodies were found partially consumed, and so Tarrare was placed under 24-hour guard. But the breaking point came when a 14-month-old infant disappeared from its ward. The hospital erupted in a manhunt, but Tarrare was the only one found with blood on his lips. It was a severe, unchecked case of polyphagia and likely a body temperature dysregulation. His body was physically incapable of signaling satiety, and his body was chronically a burning furnace that needed fuel. Therefore, his body was in a permanent state of perceived starvation. When he finally died of tuberculosis, the autopsy revealed a stomach so large it covered his entire abdominal cavity and was filled with a toxic, corrosive bile. Surgeons refused to finish the autopsy because they couldn't take the smell anymore. Tarrare's case remains the most extreme example of metabolic failure in medical history. True story. This is the Edible Files, where weird people are welcome.